When people talk about legendary voices, unforgettable performers, and the pure electricity of rock music, one name rises above almost everyone else: Freddie Mercury. Larger than life, fearless on stage, yet deeply thoughtful behind the scenes, Freddie's musical tastes were as bold and eclectic as the man himself. He loved theatricality, drama, and songs that pushed boundaries. But he also admired artists who knew how to write with soul, vulnerability, and honesty. Throughout his career, Freddie was famously private about many things, including what he personally listened to when the stage lights faded and the world wasn't watching. But in a rare, fictionalized, lost interview, we explore the 10 albums he admired most, the albums that shaped his creativity, fueled Queen's evolution, and inspired the man who would become one of rock's greatest icons. These aren't just records, they're pieces of the sonic puzzle that built Freddie Mercury. So today, we uncover the hidden list. Freddie Mercury's 10 favorite rock albums. 1. Led Zeppelin 4. Led Zeppelin. Freddie adored Led Zeppelin's power, and 4 was the album that left the deepest imprint. He admired Robert Plant's fearless vocals, the mystical themes, and the raw, thunderous confidence of the band. Stairway to Heaven fascinated him, not only as a song but as an experience. He once said that Zeppelin had the ability to make rock feel ancient and eternal at the same time, and that was precisely what he admired. For a performer like Freddie, who loved the grandeur of music, this album stood as a monument of ambition and imagination. Every track carried a sense of ritual, a journey through folk, metal, blues, and myth. Freddie often said that Zeppelin were one of the few bands who could match Queen's theatrical scale, and IV was the album he believed captured their spirit at its absolute peak. 2. A Night at the Opera. Queen, yes. Freddie loved his own work, and he never apologized for it. A Night at the Opera was the album he considered Queen's finest achievement. This was Freddie at his boldest, most creative, and most willing to take risks. Bohemian Rhapsody was a gamble that no one believed in, except Freddie. The album fused rock, opera, vaudeville, folk, and studio experimentation. And Freddie viewed it as a declaration that rock could be art, theater, and poetry all at once. He cherished every detail: Brian May's orchestral guitar layers, Roger Taylor's explosive vocals, John Deacon's elegant bass work. For Freddie, A Night at the Opera wasn't just an album. It was the moment he proved to himself and to the world that boundaries existed only to be broken. 3. Abbey Road. The Beatles. Freddie had enormous respect for the Beatles, and Abbey Road was the album he called a masterclass in musical imagination. He adored the medley on Side B, calling it one of the most perfect pieces of songwriting ever assembled. He studied the harmonies of Because, admired the emotional power of Something, and loved the effortless charm of Come Together. Freddie believed the Beatles showed the world how to evolve, how to reinvent themselves with every record, and Abbey Road represented their final moment of unity. This album taught him the importance of flow, of how each song can be part of a grander vision. Freddie often credited Abbey Road for inspiring his desire to create cinematic, album-wide experiences with Queen. 4. Ziggy Stardust. David Bowie. Long before Queen collaborated with David Bowie, Freddie Mercury was one of Bowie's biggest admirers. The rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust captivated him, particularly its theatricality, identity exploration, and unapologetic flamboyance. Freddie loved how Bowie turned himself into a cosmic character, something bold and otherworldly. He studied Bowie's storytelling, his fashion, his fearlessness. Freddie believed that Bowie didn't just record music, he created worlds. And in many ways, Freddie carried Ziggy's spirit with him for the rest of his career. Their duet, Under Pressure, wasn't just two legends sharing a microphone. It was an artistic collision of two men who understood the power of reinvention. 5. Are you experienced? The Jimi Hendrix experience. Freddie idolized Jimi Hendrix, not only as a guitarist, but as a performer. And Are You Experienced was the album that he considered a revolution. Freddie called Hendrix the true electric magician, admiring his ability to make the guitar sound like something alive, unpredictable, and emotional. Freddie often studied Purple Haze and The Wind Cries Mary, mesmerized by the blend of chaos and poetry. He believed Hendrix was one of the only musicians who performed with a sense of total surrender, letting emotion guide everything. That vulnerability, wrapped inside explosive sound, inspired Freddie to take greater risks on stage and in the studio. 6. Transformer. Lou Reed Freddie appreciated artists who dared to break rules, and Transformer was an album he deeply respected. The theatrical grit of Walk on the Wild Side, the haunting beauty of Perfect Day, and the glam rock swagger shaped by Bowie's production made this a personal favorite. Freddie admired how Reed merged poetry with attitude and darkness with elegance. This album taught him that rock didn't always need grand spectacle. Sometimes, intimacy could be just as powerful. 7. A Day at the Races. Queen Freddie believed this sister album to A Night at the Opera was underrated. He loved the blend of gospel influences, layered harmonies, and sweeping arrangements. Somebody to Love, one of Freddie's most iconic vocals, came from his admiration for Aretha Franklin. He cherished this album for its emotional richness and vocal complexity, saying it captured Queen's soulful side. 8. Who's Next? The Who. Freddie deeply admired Roger Daltrey's vocal power and Pete Townshend's songwriting vision. Who's Next impressed him because of its fusion of rock with synthesizer-driven textures, something that Freddie later adopted. Songs like Baba O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again showed him how rock could feel epic without losing precision. 9. Hunky Dory. David Bowie. Freddie Mercury admired Hunky Dory for its fearless creativity and its willingness to leap between musical styles without hesitation. To him, the album felt like watching a brilliant mind sketch ideas at lightning speed. Art pop, folk, glam, cabaret, all fused into a single imaginative world. Freddie especially loved how Bowie used the album to explore identity, fame, and transformation long before the world met Ziggy Stardust. Songs like Life on Mars struck him as beautifully surreal, mixing melodrama with poetic mystery, while Changes felt like a personal anthem about reinvention, something Freddie believed in deeply. To Freddie, Hunky Dory was pure artistic freedom, the sound of an artist discovering the power of becoming someone new. 10. Bridge Over Troubled Water. Simon and Garfunkel. Freddie Mercury had great respect for the emotional sincerity of Bridge Over Troubled Water, an album he felt demonstrated the highest level of vocal harmony and songwriting grace. He admired how the duo transformed quiet, intimate emotions into sweeping musical statements. The title track, with its gospel-influenced arrangement and angelic vocal layering, fascinated Freddie. He loved the way the song built from gentle reassurance into a soaring, cathedral-like finale. Tracks like The Boxer and Cecilia showed him that storytelling could be both simple and profound at the same time. To Freddie, this album represented music at its most human, comforting, poetic, and unafraid to bare the soul. Freddie Mercury's talent didn't appear from nowhere. It was shaped by decades of listening, absorbing, and loving music in all its forms. These 10 albums weren't just records to him. They were stepping stones toward the creation of Queen's legendary sound. Each one fed his imagination, inspired his theatricality, and shaped the fearless performer the world came to adore. Freddie once said, "I'm just a musical prostitute, my dear." But the truth is, he was a genius whose influences were as wide and rich as his voice. The albums he loved reveal the heart behind the legend. Curious, emotional, bold, and endlessly passionate. And though Freddie Mercury is no longer with us, the music he admired and the music he created will continue inspiring generations forever.